When solving a system of equations, you're actually, first of all, you have to know what a system is. A system of equations is simply two or more equations. And usually those are equations of lines, which we sometimes call linear equations. Now, how are we going to solve when we're given two equations? Well, we're going to find where the two lines cross. So the solution to our system will be the point or points of intersection. So first of all, there are several different methods for solving a system of equations. Today we're going to be using our calculators. Later on we'll be learning how to do that algebraically. But really the only algebra involved in our solving today is the very first step. As you know, the only way to put an equation into the calculator in the y equals section of the calculator is to actually solve for y. So the first thing we have to do is solve both equations for y so that we can put those into our calculator. Then we'll be going to our calculator using the y equal button. I'm going to draw a little button here. Using the y equal button, we will input both equations under y sub 1 and y sub 2. Then we're going to ask the calculator to graph that for us. Now, sometimes pressing the graph button is good enough, but sometimes our window is messed up, and if that's the case, when you push the graph button, if you can't see where those two lines cross, you may have to change your window by using zoom. And if you'll remember, the option that we want to choose is 6, which stands for the standard window. Now, once you've got your picture on your graphing calculator, you will be able to see where those two lines cross. Obviously, as we said up here, we are looking for the point or points where those lines cross. So we are going to have the calculator find that for us. So we're going to press second, and then we're going to use the trace button. And if you'll notice the trace button, above the trace button it says calc. We're going to be calculating the intersection. So you're going to press second, calc, intersect, to tell the calculator we want to know where they cross. Now, because the calculator can find intersections of lots of different things, it gives you lots of different options. So what you need to do is just press enter. I believe it finally ends up being 3 times until it finally shows you the point of intersection on the screen, and it will actually say intersection. Once it tells you that, it will give you that coordinate of that solution. Now, what is that? That's actually the point that is on both of, or even more than both. It could be more than 2. It's the point that's on all of those equations. That's what's called solving a system. So let's move on down. And let's look at an example. The first thing you need to do will be, if you will notice, all it says is solve, and it gives us two equations. So obviously we're not just solving for one, we need to solve for both. And the only way to solve for both is to find the thing that they have in common, which happens to be their point of intersection. To do that using a calculator, we're going to solve both of them for y so that we can put that into our calculator. So here's the first equation they gave us. We're going to solve that equation for y. So we need to get the x moved away from the y. Since it's being added, we're going to subtract x from both sides. Because this is an x and this is not, we cannot combine those two. So we would rewrite our equation in y equals mx plus b form, where the x comes before the constant. Now we have a 2 that's multiplied by the y that we need to get rid of. So how would we get rid of multiply? Hopefully you said we would divide. Dividing by 2 on one side means you have to divide by 2 on the other. Notice I divided by 2 all the way across. These will cancel. Remember, you have an invisible 1 in here. And for this to come out looking like a slope-intercept form, we want to write that in fraction form. So that's going to come out to -1/2 times x plus 2 over 2, which comes out to +1. Over here, obviously we've got the y by itself here, so let's move over to here. What needs to be done to get the y by itself? I think we need to remove the 2x, and since it's being added, we're going to subtract it from both sides. These cancel away, leaving a y on the left-hand side and a -2x plus 4 on the right-hand side. Now is where you're going to need to get out your calculator and put this into your calculator using your y equals screen. Remember, if you're using the old method, you need to put parentheses around your fraction here. If you're using your new method, using the fraction menu, you'll press alpha F1 to get your fractional menu. Once you get both of these into your calculator, you're going to go back up to your rules and you're going to press graph or zoom 6, whichever one you need, and you'll see a picture of those two graphs on your calculator. Then you will need to press second calc, intersect, and then you're going to press enter 3 times, and it's going to tell you your coordinates at the bottom of your screen. Those coordinates need to be written as an ordered pair. Your ordered pair in this case is +2, 0. This is your point where both of these lines touch. That would be the solution to your system.